Jesus said, "I will build my church." And he commissioned his followers with, "Go, preach the good news everywhere." The Church of God Seventh Day, embracing the Lordship of Christ and upholding the authority of Scripture, is therefore compelled by Jesus to be about his work before his second coming. GC Missions, together with the International Ministerial Congress, continues to see kingdom growth in many places around this world where God is calling people to Christ. Recent mission trips have been to Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, Pakistan, Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia and Myanmar. And leaders have benefited from training, mentoring, equipping, as well as numerous baptisms. Nearly 95 years ago, the Church of God Seventh Day found itself on the international mission field in places like Mexico, Jamaica and Nigeria, through the influence of its literature program and the witness of men and women who visited here and took the message back to their homelands. GC Missions is the international ministry of the Church in the United States and Canada. The work of GC Missions has grown quickly since 1975. The Church is now represented in more than 40 nations around the world through its International Ministerial Congress and reaches into many more. GC Missions is more intentional than ever to play the role Christ purposed for us when he said, "Go, therefore, and make disciples of all the nations." In March this year, GC Missions visited the Church of God Seventh Day in Burundi, Kenya, Tanzania and Rwanda. Vital leadership training was provided. Various projects were considered, including literature translation, income-generating projects, and missionary support through Cristo Vienna. The church there is quickly grown with numerous baptisms. GC Missions has been at work in more than 10 additional countries on this continent where the Church of God Seventh Day exists and is flourishing. Nations strung across North Africa, through the Middle East, South Asia and Oceania are home to world religions and people groups that are mostly untouched by the Christian gospel, namely Islam, Hinduism and Buddhism. This belt has been called the 1040 window. It covers from the 10th to the 40th parallels north of the equator and stretches from the Atlantic Ocean on the west into the Pacific on the east. 5 nations in this great and difficult mission field were visited by GC Missions in April and May this year. In the mostly Muslim country of Pakistan, GC Missions visited a vibrant and growing community of Christian faith led by Shamas Pervez. This was the first time Church of God Seventh Day members from outside Pakistan had visited there, and a great time of blessing and encouragement was experienced. Various projects were considered, including a Bible seminary, agricultural projects, sewing and educational projects for widows and orphans. In the mostly Catholic country of the Philippines, GC Missions visited the annual convention of this well-established church on the island of Mindanao. In the mostly Buddhist country of Myanmar, GC Missions visited 8 congregations and Asian Christian Theological Seminary led by Kluang Kang to preach, learn and explore projects in order to help the church further develop. In the mostly Muslim nation of Indonesia, GC Mission spent 6 days working in Jakarta and Manado, aiding the fledgling efforts there. And in May this year, the IMC met for the inaugural Regional Leaders Meeting, which brought together church leaders from Myanmar, Pakistan, India, Malaysia, Indonesia, Australia and the Philippines. And 4 days were spent networking, planning and praying for the cause of Christ's grace and truth in this region of the world. The 1040 window contains 35% of the Earth's land surface, 65% of its population, and 95% of its people who've never heard about Jesus. The recent efforts in that region represent several firsts for the IMC and GC Missions of our church. By the grace and providence found in Jesus Christ, The Church of God Seventh Day is growing and nurturing disciples internationally as more dedicated, mission-equipped believers step into Jesus' service. Yes, Jesus is coming, and so the call on our lives, shared in community, is becoming stronger and more focused in kingdom work than ever before.
Mighty God, He's a mighty God. Kwa Yesu ni hame, kwa Yesu ni hame, kwa Yesu ni hame,
nzuri sana.
kwa Yesu ni hame,
Asante. Karibu. Amen. Amen.